Okay, two-dimensional figures. You've most likely done this before, but it's definitely a geometric concept that we're going to hit pretty hard this year. So some vocab to start off as usual. We have a polygon. Polygon is just any closed figure that is created by segments, so straight lines. So a circle would not be considered a polygon because it's not made of straight lines. Concave versus convex. So convex is what most of your figures, what you're used to seeing. Concave is when you have a piece of it that caves in. So let's say I had a figure like this. That would be considered concave because this piece is caved in, as they would say. If you can connect any two vertices and it lands outside of the figure, then that's considered concave. So if it doesn't have a spot that caves in, then it's convex. Equiangular is a figure where all the angles are congruent. A regular polygon has all sides and angles congruent. Sorry, I skipped equilateral. Equilateral means all the sides are congruent. The perimeter is the sum of the lengths of all the sides, so you add all the sides up. You have two formulas for the circumference of a circle, which is the outside, and then area. You should probably know what area is already. Okay, so on here we're going to put perimeter and area formulas on here for each of these. So the perimeter of a triangle, of this particular triangle, would be C plus B plus D. So adding up around the outside. Perimeter of the square would be S plus S plus S plus S, or you could just say 4S on that one. The rectangle, the perimeter could be length plus width plus length plus width, or we could say 2L plus 2W on there. That's just the simplified version of that. And then lastly, the circle. So the circle is the circumference, so that's 2 pi r, or pi times the diameter. So this is radius, that's diameter. Okay, so the next one, area formulas. You have area equals 1/2 base times height for a triangle. For the square, we have the area equals side times side, or you could say side length squared, so length times width on a square as well. On the rectangle, you have area is length times width. And then for the circle, that is pi r squared, which I'm sure you have heard of these before. Okay, so example 1, we have name the polygon by the number of sides and classify it as convex, concave, regular, or irregular. So looking at this figure, we have 4 sides on it. So if you go back up to our little chart at the top, all 4-sided figures are considered quadrilaterals. So quadrilateral, that's the first step. Convex or concave, regular or irregular. So there's no piece that is caving in on this, so this would be considered convex. And then regular or irregular. So in order for it to be regular, it has to have all of the sides and angles equal to each other. And you can see here I actually have 4 different lengths of sides on this figure. So this is irregular. Okay, part B, this kind of arrow looking shape. Count the number of sides. So if I start over here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So a 9-sided figure is a nonagon. So I'm going to put that down there. Is it convex or concave? So if you see here, this section and this section, those would be considered kind of caved in, because I could connect this vertex to this vertex and it lands outside of the figure. So this would be concave. And then is it regular or irregular? So since they're not all the same size, this would also be irregular. Okay, so now we are finding the perimeter and the area of each of these figures. So I'm starting with the rectangle. So the perimeter, I'm going to add up all the sides. So if this is a rectangle, then this is 4.6. So this is 4.6. That would be 2.3 there. So I'm going to just add those up. And see what that gives us here. So I have two 2.3s and two 4.6s. So that gives me 13.8 centimeters. Okay, and then if we're going to do area, area is length times width. So I have 4.6 times 2.3, which gives me 10.58. And when you're talking about area, area is always square units because it's two-dimensional. It has a length and a width, and you would fill it up. When you're filling something with area, that is going to be squared units. So now over to my circle here. So what I have labeled is the radius. So this is going to be the variable r. So I'm going to use 2 pi r. Okay, now when we have these circles, I'm going to have you give exact answers and estimated answers again. So if I'm going to give an exact answer, that means you leave pi in your answer. So I'm just going to simplify the stuff other than pi. I'm going to kind of treat it as a variable, even though it's not. It's a number. So I'm going to take the 2 and the 4 and multiply those, and that gives me 8 pi. So that is an exact answer. Now if I want an estimated answer, I'm going to grab my handy dandy calculator here, and I'm going to actually type in 8 pi, and there's a pi symbol right here. So I'm going to use that, because that's more accurate than just typing in 3.14. And I get an estimate. Let's go to 2 decimal places, so I'm going to have 25.13 is what this is about. And this is in inches. So then I'm going to do the same thing with the area. I'm going to give both of those answers. So area is pi r squared. So we're going to have pi 4 squared. So the exact answer would be 16 pi. And then if I get the estimated on the calculator, that gives me 50.27. And that is going to be square inches. So now I have exact and estimated answers for both of those. Okay, flip it over. So we are going to find the area of this figure here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to divide this up into a square and 2 triangles. So if you look right here, I can do this and make a little triangle right here. And then I can also go like this and make another triangle right here. So now I have a rectangle and 2 triangles. Sorry, I think I said a square. So I'm going to number these. We have 1, 2, and this little guy can be 3. So we can find the area of each of them. So figure number 1. We're going to do length times width. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 this way. So 6 times 5. I have an area of 30 there for figure number 1. Figure number 2, this little triangle on the top, I'm going to do 1/2 base times height. So the base length here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The same as that square was. And then the height is 1, 2, 3. I have 3 units for height. So if I multiply that, 1/2 of 6 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. And then figure number 3 over here, again I have 1/2 because it's a triangle. Base is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That little tiny spot right there. Yep, 5. And then the height is just 1. So 5 times 1 is 5. 1/2 of that is 2.5. So if we add these together, that's going to give me the whole length. So 30 plus 9, that's 39. So that would be 41.5 units squared. Okay, so you have the last 2 to do here using the figures that are to the right. And of course, we have to have a joke of the day. Why do birds fly south in the fall? Because it's too far to walk. Okay, hope you have a great day and make sure that you're nice to someone as always.